lovely to have every one of you here. And I'd like to especially thank the people who have come from far away. So our Canberra collection, her very good friends, and Josh's parents, Sally and Peter. We're really thrilled that you could all come all this way. I know it's a big trip at the weekend. We've also got our Curl relatives. Shirley, where's Shirley? Tony's mum. I could keep you here all night reading stories about how totally beautiful Ishbel was and how wise and how philosophical. But I'll just show you quickly because I know you've got other things to do. So, my father, Peter, so Ishbel has been utterly adored and adorable since the moment we were lucky enough to first hold her in our arms. She, being the third child, was brought up by Adrian and Rosie as much as by me. Now, our dear Tony, who sadly misses all these beautiful, beautiful years, of course, was overjoyed from the moment Ishbel arrived and the moment we heard of her. And so here's just a few where you can be with Tony. And just pause for a sec, Rosie. Interestingly, I remember someone, and it's maybe one of the people here, saying that all my children looked like Tony, and she looked like Tony the most of all. We actually used to call her Tiny Tony. And this friend, it might have been Leslie, it might have been, I don't know who it was, that they said, all your children look like Tony, but you've perfected the technique with Ishbel. So it's kind of nice to have that memory with Tony. In relation to this wild gang of boys that roamed around our neighbourhood, Luke, Thomas, James, who else? Oh, a few others. She said, I like those dumb boys. And so Ishbel learned to mix it with the boys from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So Ishbel was so brought up from at the breast that was a few weeks old with meetings that when she was turning 3 and we had a beautiful party at the basin, except it was very windy, Emmy was there, Carol was there with the boys, Leslie and Co, and the Vicks. She told people for weeks before the party, I'm turning 3. We're having a meeting for my birthday soon. Asha and Ishbel were so inseparable that in year 12, if you know, on their jumper they had Ashbel written for each other. Doing Duke of Ed, off with Adrian. So to and fro along the dirt road that they're currently sealing. And growing up. It's been important, it's been Bundagen. And so the majority of our holidays have been at Bundagen, where my mother and father lived for 12 years. And every morning the kids would jump into bed with them, and the agreement was they had to wait till it was 7 o'clock, and then they'd be in like a shot from when they were this high to that high.
So I've spoken at a few 21st over the past couple of months. Generally the intention is to, embarrass and humiliate the host and generally dish the dirt on different issues, and I certainly got humiliated and torn apart at my 21st in front of my close friends and family. And Ishbel was the only one who had solely kind words to say, nothing bad at all. So I'm going to continue with that and just say nothing but nice things. It just reflects on Ishbel's personality, and your passion and kindness just inspires me all the time. And Ishbel just is always so positive, and just no matter what's happening in her own life, will put some time aside for you and will just say just whatever needs to be said to make you feel better. And for that, I just thank you so much.
When you have a crush on someone, there's this constant need to make an impression on them. And on several occasions, I certainly made an impression. But by far the most painfully reverberating memory that I have of this plethora of impressions, and probably the most painful memory I have of my entire life, happened when I tried to show off in front of Ishbel a few of my bike skills. And when I say it was painful for me, I actually mean it was actually very painful for Ishbel, because as I was trying to show off my amazing bicycle dexterity, I managed to knock Ishbel off her own bike, and she face planted in the road.
And then we emptied it back onto the jetty walkway, making it look exactly like dog poo. Exactly. Then we climbed behind this small bush and we hid there and we watched the afternoon commuters come off and have to navigate it, and we're kind of, you know, tired and annoyed, and we just laughed the whole afternoon. We did it again and again, and it was just really funny.
When I was about 18, I sort of realised that Ishbel, who was 15, was probably more mature than me, and I learned a lot of things from her. So, you know, she had a lot of friends with people who were older than her, and she sort of interacted with everyone the same. And she was going on a lot of these adventures which have been mentioned, and she started taking me on them. So she took me to the folk festival down in Canberra, or up to Bellingen to the National, and out bushwalking with her. So from that time, you know, I really looked up to Ishbel. She was my role model, which was a bit of a reverse. So I'd like to say thank you very much. And Herman started in Ecuador when we just met up after a few weeks. We'd all met in Ecuador because we came there separately, and we were sitting down to get a beer. And me and Ishbel had never really shared a beer before, so this was a big thing for me and my brother. And the waitress was a little bit rude, and I mentioned something, and Ishbel took a drink of her beer, burped, and said, "Yeah, but she's got good tits."
So I guess I'm the latest of the silly boys, or as Jenny puts it, special friends. The first is Ishbel's sense for adventure and having new experience. Second point is Ishbel's fun and funniness. You know, taking on that contagion of Ishbel's laughter and found ourselves rolling around on the ground. Third point is Ishbel's willingness to love and eagerness to love. You find it in the smallest ways. So many times I've found a little note underneath my pillow, or more recently in my tent after I unpacked it after a couple of weeks previously when Ishbel had borrowed it. A little note that just says something like, "Hello, darling. Hope this finds you well. Lots of love, Ishbel."
Rosie's closing up, I think. We'll be quick. We won't keep So this is Ray, Jen, and I'm Isaac, and we live with Ishbel most of the time when she is in Canberra, and so she obviously splits her time between Canberra and you guys here, and so we're very lucky to have her a lot of the time, a lot more of the time these days as well.
The only time she's failed to rock the camera was for her first passport photo. Marvelling over berries in the Amazon, in Tasmania, just checking out some moss, hanging with the mountains. She just loves ecosystems and everything wild. And she loves it so much that she went to Canberra and she got to go on field trips and study the environment, and it makes her really happy. She's so passionate and interested in it that the federal government now employs her. And she's following in the footsteps of her mother, who also loves the environment and is on walks in nature. And our Ishbel is nothing if not quirky. I don't even know what this photograph is about. You can't put her in a box. I've always loved helping Ishbel out, and she really is my best friend, and I'm so glad to have her. And in terms of Adrian and Ishbel and I, she balances us out. She's like the perfect. She even says herself, it's like a trifecta.
One of them, I think, is trust yourself. Don't assume that everyone else has got the right answers. Yeah? Just know what you want and know what it is that you want. And I think you do that. I think you do that really well. So make it yours and believe in yourself all the way through. Yeah? The next one is be fearless. Yeah? What's the worst thing that can happen? You're going to die. We're all going to be dead. In 100 years, we're all going to be dead. So it doesn't matter. So be strong. Be fearless in what you want to do. Yeah? Yeah. And the final one, which is to bring it very much back to Ishbel, is be kind. Be kind to each other. And I think in this room, we would say that Ishbel is probably the kindest person we all know. Yeah.
What I really want right now, and what we feel is about, is just having great
like party. So,
Yeah.
so I think we should just like get the music back.
Kicking in and kicking up. Maybe raise our invisible glasses. Charge your invisible glasses. To Ishbel.
That was true. Ishbel was there when he popped out.